Officially, the next upcoming Sims title is called Project Renee, but we've all been calling it The Sims 5 because we've all assumed that it's just gonna be the sequel to The Sims 4, but unfortunately, new evidence suggests that Project Renee may not actually be the sequel to The Sims 4 and may not be called The Sims 5. In a recent live stream, it was confirmed that Project Renee will exist side by side with The Sims 4. The term side by side could be interpreted in many ways. For example, one may argue that The Sims 3 exists side by side by The Sims 4 because they are both available to purchase. However, you may also argue that they do not exist side by side, and that's because The Sims 3 is not receiving updates, it's not getting new packs, it's basically a dead game. What this suggests is that EA will continue making packs for The Sims 4 and giving the game perhaps free base game updates whilst Project Renee is released. But of course, to have both The Sims 4 and The Sims 5 being updated together seems a little bit silly if The Sims 5 was the sequel to The Sims 4, so it makes a lot more sense to consider Project Renee as more of a spin-off. As such, it seems considerably likely that Project Renee may not contain all of the standard things that we would normally see in a Sims base game. Based on recent information, including job listings for Project Renee, it seems like the game may only have apartments. We've also seen this in teasers for the game as well, and we do know that The Sims 5 will contain multiplayer elements, and it makes me believe that The Sims 5 will primarily be a multiplayer experience, perhaps where every single character has their own apartment to live in, and it seems like it's almost going to be kind of like an MMO. Honestly, this sounds a bit unpopular. I'm not totally against having a Sims MMO spin-off. There's nothing wrong with an MMO spin-off. I play Final Fantasy XIV, which is an MMO spin-off of the Final Fantasy series, and I absolutely love it. But what would a Sims MMO actually look like? So far, you might come to the conclusion that it looks like Among Us. But here's a weird thing. Also, based on the previews that we've seen, it does appear to look like a main title Sims game. In fact, in the recent live stream, it was confirmed that weather would be coming in the base game of Project Renee. I keep pausing before I say it because I want to say Sims 5, but I'm going to try and not call it Sims 5 anymore because it seems apparent that it's not going to be called The Sims 5. It was mentioned in this live stream that basic weather would be in the base game, but they would upsell different packs for each type of weather. For example, there might be a snowy activities pack, and it was confirmed that packs will exist in The Sims 5, but the packs will be a little bit different, which of course they have to be, because if you're playing an online game, it would be incredibly messy if not everybody owned all of the packs, because that way you wouldn't be able to play with friends unless you all own the exact same packs. And they seem to stress how if you have a friend who doesn't play The Sims, they will be able to download the game and play it with you. What the hell does that mean? Like, will your friend get like a temporary license to play the game? Like, what is that? They also confirmed some good news though, that there won't be a subscription service and it won't have a freemium mobile app vibe, and that there's no like energy meter or something. But right now the whole thing just feels very, very conflicting. Is it a main title Sims game? Is it a spin-off? I have a feeling it's gonna kind of be in between. But if it's supposed to coexist with The Sims 4, how is that gonna work? Two games which are basically the same thing can't coexist. The Sims 5 must be substantially different for them to coexist, just like how The Sims Medieval coexisted with The Sims 3. They were both basically like the same game, but The Sims Medieval was a totally unique experience that felt really different to The Sims 3, but it still maintained the Sims vibe. Another thing a lot of people seem concerned about is the fact that Project Renee is being referred to as free to download, but not free to play. Free to download and free to play could have very different meanings, and referring to a game as free to download seems like very weird wording, and I think it could be interpreted in so many different ways. We already have confirmation, as I said before, that it won't be subscription based. Free to download could be like an MMO, in that many MMOs, like, you can download the entire game for free, but there are different packs which unlock brand new worlds, and those brand new worlds may come with brand new activities. The worst possible scenario, given that they keep emphasizing apartments in all of the teasers, I would hate to think that the Project Renee base Sims game, the free to download thing would come with like an apartment complex or something that if you wanted to, you know, unlock a suburban house lot, you'd have to pay for it. I believe they might do that in Second Life where you have to like pay to rent land or something. I've never played it, so I don't know how it works. I'm honestly not against an MMO because I do like MMOs in real life, but then how would an MMO work if every single sim was a player sim? Like if you wanted to woohoo with a sim, the game most definitely would not let you woohoo with another player's sim unless they consented to it. So like there would have to be randomly generated townies in order to do so. Imagine like, okay, imagine having a multiplayer Sims game where you and your friend's sim could like woohoo together and you could like virtually woohoo. That's a little bit weird. That is really, really weird. Like I can already see that going so dreadfully wrong. Imagine if you meet another person in game via their sim avatar and you perform like romantic interactions together and you find out that that person is not of age or something. That would be like really severe. So I am skeptical about the concept of multiplayer, and in a weird way I really hope that there isn't this whole thing of multiplayer in the same way as like some kind of MMO, because I just think it would get a bit inappropriate. In an ideal world, I think the multiplayer element should just be restricted to build mode or something. Another thing which is a concern about Project Renee is that they've suggested that the game will grow over time. Again, that could be interpreted in many ways, but what it usually means in the modern video gaming world is they will release the game half complete upon release, and then they will gradually update it over time instead of just releasing a full game. Almost all video games do this these days. They release as early access and then they just like update it when they feel like over time, and the game perpetually is never complete. Instead of just releasing like a full complete video game on release, they just release a bare bones and then update it as they go along. And I really hate this. It's such an annoying thing about modern video games in general. I really don't like it. It's become a bit of a cliche thing these days to make a YouTube video about the downfall of The Sims. I'm one of the worst YouTubers who does it, like I do admit that. But based on historical information of the way EA have treated The Sims 4, The Sims 4, like it was never really intended to be 10 plus years old. It was never really meant to be going that long. Yet it is going that long, and we're now finding out that it's continuing to go on up to the point where it's coexisting with Project Renee. If Project Renee comes out in 2 to 3 years time, that means we're still going to be getting Sims 4 packs potentially for 2 to 3 years. This year already, The Sims 4 has had 2 expansion packs with another expansion pack and a stuff pack on the way. Imagine if we had 3 expansion packs a year for 3 years. That would be dreadful. I mean, my theory is The Sims 4 is a massive cash cow for EA, and they don't want to give up making money on this game because they know you'll buy all the packs regardless of the quality, so they will continue to make them and sell them. I mean, to be fair, like I do get it from a business perspective. Like if something's working, why would you change it? So I do 100% understand it, and I'm not going to be a moody negative bitch about it because I do actually get it. People are still playing and enjoying a game. Why would you kill it off? The Sims 3 was basically killed off because people started losing interest in it, and I'm sure once people start losing interest in The Sims 4, they will start killing it off. They say now the two games will coexist side by side, but if in a year or two from now The Sims 4 becomes dead and people simply stop playing it, then they probably will just kill it off. And then as they did with Project Olympus, which was originally going to be an online multiplayer game before it became The Sims 4, they'll quickly change it last minute and turn it into a main title Sims game, and then it'll be awful and it'll be a repeat disaster of the Sims 4 Project Olympus controversy. But what I really am worried about the most is the monetization model. Okay, like this is my really like biggest fear, and this is why I honestly think The Sims 5 will crash and burn, which I don't want it to, but I think it will. I think they're going to employ microtransactions in a similar way to Roblox Roblox, or in a similar way to perhaps Second Life, where you buy furniture or something from this in-game marketplace with real money, or you purchase in-game currency with real money, which is basically the same thing but with an extra step, and then you use that stuff to, you know, decorate your apartment perhaps. Or if you want to live in a snowy world, you might have to purchase a snowy map and then your plot will be on that. I don't know. I think nobody knows, and I think that's what's really scary. Humans don't like the unknown. None of us do. But based on the information that we do know, or the speculative information that we can guess, it seems like Project Renee will be very, very different. And different is not always a bad thing, but EA are well known in the video gaming world for paywalling things. If a video game is described as free to download or free to enter, but not free to play, it does suggest that we potentially will be getting some kind of Fortnite Battle Pass system, or some kind of cash grabby microtransaction store like Roblox. And I'm just not too sure if Simmers are going to really appreciate that. What I wouldn't be against is if they remade the herbs, but they turned that into like an MMO, kind of like a Sims version of GTA. I would actually really love that. But obviously we're going to have to wait and see. You guys let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one.